Hey, Bonnie. How are you? Oh, there's Linda. Hi, Linda.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, wonderful. How about you?
I'm pretty good. It's Friday,
It is Friday. We dodged more storms here in North Carolina. I think. uh,
Did you?
yeah, they were getting hit pretty bad over in Alabama and Georgia. I thought it was heading this way, but I think it's going to play
Yeah.
out before it gets here. So that's good.
That's good. Where in North Carolina are you?
In Southport, it's right close to Wilmington on the coast.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I lived in Raleigh, Durham for years and years.
Okay, that's where we lived before we came here. So
Ah.
just a short hop over the coast.
Yeah. Much nicer living on the coast.
It is. We've enjoyed it, except for the hurricanes. But the rest of the year, it's nice.
Yeah, there is that.
There is indeed. All right, so people are coming in slow today, but we should have quite a few more people coming in. So we're going to hang here a few minutes, give everybody a chance to come in.
Okay.
So where are you now, Linda?
So now I'm in Southwest Michigan,
Oh,
sort of
okay.
across the lake from Chicago. Well, those kids of mine, they got married and had families and stayed up here in the North Country, so I had to come back.
Yep, that's what happens sometimes. Hey, Bonnie, where are you?
I'm near Bluebell. Near Philadelphia in Pennsylvania.
Okay, yes. I lived in Pittsburgh for about 12 years back in the early 80s. So, but went through Philadelphia many times.
Yes.
I like Pennsylvania. Kind of big, been all over the place. I've been down in Texas. And
Pittsburgh was a surprise when we moved there. I thought it was going to be a terrible place to live, and it was a fabulous place to live.
Yeah, I agree totally. In fact, we try to keep it a secret because we want everybody to come there because you think, steel, smog, and it was one of my favorite places. I love it.
Mine too.
Where'd you live?
So we lived in the North Hills.
Okay.
Up in Wexford. Mm-hmm.
Yep, I was down in Mount Lebanon, Green Tree.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
We may have a nice, cozy group, which is okay too, especially with this topic. So we usually give people 4 to 5 minutes to get here. So we're going to go ahead and start in just another minute, and some other people come in. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
So I have an iPhone 11.
Okay, yeah, that's good enough. What's yours, Linda?
Oh, mine's an 8, but I've got.
Okay.
I think my iOS is 14. So.
Okay, so I've got an 8 as well. So, all right, because there's a few differences between the newer than 8 and 8 and older, but I think I know what most of those are. But But Bonnie, if you see something, you probably see some things different, but I think I can talk you through what they are. Not as much in this class as in the basic class where we're looking at a lot of things. Okay, so we are 4 minutes in, so I'm going to go ahead and get started because we do have a lot to cover in this class. I want to make sure we have time. So I'm going to get a couple of the housekeeping issues out of the way, and then we'll jump into the agenda. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And I'm going to move your pictures over here to the other side. Oops. And Nancy's coming. Nancy, you there?
I was here, oh Lord.
Okay, great. Thanks. Glad to have you come in.
Standing in the need of prayer.
Which iPhone model do you have?
Oh, yes, such hard questions, but this fella taught me how to figure it out. Now, just a minute.
Okay.
Go to this little wheel and then you punch where your name is. And then it says, well, I thought it said,
You have to go down to general.
oh, that's right. What?
Yeah.
How are you supposed to remember all this?
I know. You need to have a cheat sheet.
Now I'm lost. Okay, come on, General. Where are you? There you are, General. I knew it was here. Well, I still don't know. About
Yep.
14.1 iPhone 7 Plus.
Okay. All right. 7 Plus. So we got.
Biggest I could get at the time.
All right. Good. And hey,
I'm of the age of CinemaScope. I ain't looking at some little tiny 3x5 card.
Yeah, I know. We get older, the bigger the better, isn't it? For anything related with
Old people, particularly.
Okay. All right. So let's go. All right. So I've got my pictures moved over where I can see you all. So that's good. And I'm going to leave everybody unmuted since we got a small group. But if there's any background noise, I will mute during the class. So before you ask your question, just be sure to check and see if you're muted and if you are, unmute and ask your question. And as always, don't need to raise your hand or anything, just unmute and ask away. And I will go ahead and open the chat as well, though, in case anybody has any trouble with their microphone. So I have that open now. So if you need to reach me via the chat, that is open. But if your mic's working, just go ahead and ask your question out loud. That way everybody else can hear you. And I'll hear you on a timely basis as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and officially start the class. That takes care of all of the housekeeping issues. And this is iPhone's personal safety features. That's the theme of this class. And I'm your guide. My name is Wade Yarbrough. And very briefly about me, I'm from a small town in West Tennessee called Mason, very close to Memphis, Tennessee. I have a PhD in experimental psychology. I work with pigeons. If anybody remembers B.F. Skinner from any of your psychology classes, it was Skinnerian work. And was going to teach college and did teach some college, but I ended up going in and installing and training people how to use healthcare information systems, primarily in hospitals. So been involved with technology and training for a long time. But the best thing about teaching at Get Set Up is the people here are in the class because they want to be in the class, as opposed to because their employer made them take the class or it was a required course in college. So, and that's what we try to do at Get Set Up, is to set an environment where everybody can learn. You can learn things that you want to learn and learn with other people that are interested in the same topic, interact with the instructor and interact with each other. That's, I think, the magic of Get Set Up. The session is being recorded, and any participant can request a copy of that recording. You can do that by sending an email to help@getsetup.io. I'm going to put that in the chat as well in case you don't have that, so you can get that written down and into your email contacts. We are also live streaming this class, as we're doing a lot of our classes these days. So anyone that's joining us via live stream, I want to welcome you as well. Thanks for joining us. But I want to also remind you that the best way to get the full Get Set Up experience is to register for the class so you can ask questions and interact with the other learners in the class. And finally, Get Set Up is not paid to promote any products that we train on. We are purely trainers. Okay, so let's talk about the agenda for today. We're going to talk about several things. We're going to talk about the medical ID, how you complete it and how it's used, how to find your phone if it gets lost and erase it if you need to, know how to share your location with other people, which can be very helpful. And then we'll throw in a few tips and tricks along the way just to keep it interesting. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the medical ID, and that is housed in the Health app. So if you want to go ahead and find the Health app, I'm going to move this over a little bit to make it easier to see. Looks like this, white background with a heart in it. It says Health underneath while I talk about it. So basically the medical ID contains your medical conditions, allergies, medications, etc. And it's so that first responders or anyone else that's trying to take care of you in a critical situation has access to the most current and relevant information. So scenario might be you're walking down the street and pass out, you're unresponsive on the concrete, and someone's trying to take care of you and help you. What information do you want them to know about you? Information you would tell them if you were conscious and able to, but you're unconscious. That's basically what the medical ID is doing for you. It's making sure that those trying to help you have the appropriate information to do the best job possible. That medical ID information can be sent automatically to emergency services. That is done through encrypted third-party service where it's sent from Apple's data center to the 911 operator. And that happens when you call or text or use the emergency SOS on your iPhone. You do have a choice whether you want that information to be sent electronically or not. If you don't send it electronically, it would still be available on the phone for somebody to read. And I'll show you how to do that as well. Okay, so hopefully everybody's found. Has anybody not found the health app? Let's ask it that way. And I think you're muted, Bonnie, if you're.
I have not found it.
Okay. All right, let me show you the first tip and trick then. I was going to show you this at some point anyway. I love this one. What I do with my phone, if I don't see an app I'm looking for on the home screen, I don't do this anymore where you're searching around, flipping through all your pages, looking for apps. What I do is I just put my fingers somewhere between the apps, like where my cursor is pointing right now, and slide down, and you'll see it opens up a window. It's got what's called Siri Suggestions, and this is typically the apps you use the most and most recently. So lots of times it's here anyway. In fact, it's here for me on this one. But if it wasn't there, you can start typing it. And usually the first two letters is all you have to type. So if I type HE for health, it brings up two apps, and it's this one. So, did that work?
No, I'm not seeing what you put up. It's blocked by the photos.
Okay, what you need to do is to go up to the upper right.
And drag it over.
View options. You see what says view options up in the upper right on your Zoom screen? Should
upper right.
Yeah.
Live, it says.
Yep.
Zoom us, meeting.
So up in the upper right corner, it should have view options.
eWatch.
eWatch. Are you on a laptop or
iMac?
Okay, Mac. It may be. I thought it was the same on the Mac. Let me try this and see if I can take care of it from this side. Can you see it now?
No, it moved over a little. Not all the way.
Is there a minimize button up on the pictures?
On the pictures. Hide thumbnails. No.
There should be.
Oh, I was able to move the pictures though. Okay.
There we go.
Oh, it just came right back though. Wait. Oh, now I put it on the bottom. Okay.
Got it.
So now I don't recognize the screen that you're on your phone.
Let's do that again because this is a good trick for everybody, even if you found it. So what you do if you want to find an app, just touch, somewhere between the apps here, like where I'm pointing. Put your finger there and slide down, pull down. Oops, and I missed it. Hang on.
Yeah, that happened to me.
Okay, now I see they're all moving. Now what do I do?
Yeah, I didn't want to do that. That was an accident. I touched the wrong place. So you got to touch in between the apps. I touched an app, touch there, and just slide down. And it'll bring up a screen like this. It's a little tricky because if you touch the app, you'll launch the app, but you want to pull down between the apps.
Siri Suggestions, okay.
So if it's not in there, and it looks like this, it's white with a heart. If it's not in there.
Yes, it's there. It's there.
All right, great. So touch that one.
Okay.
Now we're all good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay, no problem. All right, so this is, this is the medical, the health app, but we want to get to the medical ID, which is in your profile. And the profile is up here in the upper right. Has a circle with your initials in it. So touch that. And it should bring you to your profile. And the second option should be medical ID.
Yep.
Got it with me? So touch that medical ID and it should bring you to something roughly looking like this. It should say profile and medical ID. And we're going to want to touch the edit.
So mine's empty, so that means I have to put the information in.
Yeah, and I'll show you how that works. You can fill it out or edit it after class. I'm just going to kind of show you where it is and how you would do it.
Okay.
Because you may have to get some documentation to fill it all in. But I'm going to go through and explain what's in here and why you might want this information in here. The reason Apple puts a place for your picture is they say that there is a slim but possible chance that they've got the wrong phone. For whatever reason, you had your spouse's phone or someone else's phone. But anyway, that's a way for them to verify, yes, this is the person that's laying on the street unconscious. So that's why they say they have the picture. Obviously, you don't have to put your picture there, but that's the reason they have it. Your birth date is so they know your age, which is helpful for dosing medications. Your medical conditions. And again, remember the scenario here. This is you're unconscious. It's a critical situation. First responders or some nurse or doctor that's come along and found you is trying to help you. What should they know? So this doesn't have to be an exhaustive list of every medical condition you've got. If you've got arthritis in your left wrist, that's probably not important. In this case, your primary care physician needs to know about it. But these are things if you're diabetic, if you have congestive heart failure, if you have COPD, those are the kind of things they need to know about. The next is medical notes. This is anything else you want to tell them that doesn't fit into one of the categories. I use it to put my primary care physician's name and phone number because he knows more about me than anyone else. So that way they can call him and say, I've got Wade here. He's unconscious, and ask whatever question he needs to ask him. Allergies and reactions, obviously very important. You don't want them giving you a medication that you're allergic to. I'm very allergic to penicillin, so I don't want them giving me penicillin. Medications, same thing. It's okay if you give them an exhaustive list of your medications, but certainly give them things that they may give you something that would interact with it. Blood type, obviously, if they need to do a blood transfusion, it's good to know what your blood type is. Height and weight, again, is for dosing. And then there's a place for emergency contacts. You may already have emergency contacts in here because there's other places on your phone where you can designate someone as emergency contact. If you've done that over in the contacts, it will carry over to here. If you don't have anyone here, this is a good place to put them. But that's why you may already see an emergency contact in there. And then the last two questions kind of go back to what we were talking about a minute ago. The first one says show when locked. Your phone is probably going to be locked in these scenarios. So I would think you would want to have that turned on. So whether your phone is locked or not, they can get to your medical ID. And the other is to share during emergency. And this is the thing about sending that information electronically. Allows Apple to share your medical ID information with emergency services electronically. So if you want them to transmit that information, turn it to green. If you don't want them to transmit it, leave it gray. They can still see it, but it won't go. Yeah, I have mine green because I think it's safer for them to send it so that the 911 operators got that information and can send it to the first responders.
So Wade, does it go every time you would hit 911? So say there was a fire at your house or there was a burglar, would the information still go and you dialed 911?
That's a darn good question. I don't know the answer. I would guess yes, because when you dial 911 from the phone, they don't know.
Yeah,
I'm going to put that on my list of things to research. If I can find an answer pretty quickly, I'll put it in the class notes.
Thank you.
Because I never thought of that about that scenario that you may be calling for some reason other than a personal emergency.
Wait, I don't have that
Right.
emergency access. I have a emergency contact.
And so under emergency, are you on the 7? What phone are you on?
Oh, I'm on 6.
6. Okay. I think this may be only with the 7, and it may be the 8 even that has some of
Okay.
this.
Okay, thank you.
I am totally lost. This is Bonnie. I try to just put in my where you said notes, I put my family physician so I would know that what to put in there, and then I lost you. So now I can't even get you back on. I'm on summary.
Because you're back here. Are you here?
Summary steps, yes.
Yep.
But
So
it
again,
says 62 steps for me.
so let me show you one more time. And again, you can fill this in after class because
Yeah.
you'll need some time to look some of this information up. So let me walk in again for everybody though, because it's a little cryptic. So this is where you come when you first open the health app. Then you touch your initials. That takes you to the profile. This is part of your profile. So that brings up your profile. That's where you can touch medical ID, the second line.
Oh, I'm lost. I'm not going to hold the class back. That's okay.
Okay. And what I'll do is I'll put it in I think it's in the notes already that come out after class, because this is a little cryptic to find. So it'll be in the email that comes out after class. We'll have the steps to get here. Main thing I wanted you to know in the class is what it is and why you would want to fill it out. So I'll make sure you got that's in the notes that come out after class.
You know what? I just put my physician's name in. I finally figured out how to get back. It put my weight in and my height automatically.
You would probably put that in somewhere else on the app because there's a lot of this information you may be putting in somewhere else and it carries over.
Wow.
That's probably what happened there. Okay. All right. So let's move on to, and we're going to flip the thing around. Let's say you're the person that walks up and finds somebody passed out on the street and you want to call, get help for them. So depending on what model phone you've got, this works differently. If you're on an 8 or newer, what you do is press the buttons on either side and just watch my screen again. This is something I'll show you. You can try it later. And but if you hold the buttons on either side of the phone, you have to press them at the same time. Hold it for about 2 seconds. This screen will pop up.
Wow.
And there's 2 things here. The first just says medical ID. So let's say I'm a physician and I'm the one that finds you. I don't necessarily want to call 911, but I want to check your medical ID before I do something. So I can just slide that and up pops the medical ID. He can now read everything in my medical ID. He can call my primary care physician if he needs to and take care of me. I'm gonna go back into that again. I have to do the whole thing again. Oops. The second one is that emergency SOS I've mentioned a time or two already. So this is, if you slide this, it automatically calls 911, transmits that information electronically if you've approved that. So that's
Now,
what
this is only for an 8 and above.
This is on an 8 or above, yes.
Okay.
I'll talk about the 7 and older in just a sec.
Okay.
Now, if you slide this, it starts a countdown. So it does give you time to say, oops, I didn't mean to do that. So it'll count down. I think it starts at 5, counts down to 1, and then it places the call.
Wow.
So you do have a chance to hit the cancel and stop it if you did it by accident. But then when it gets down to 0, it goes ahead and places that call and sends that information. Now, there could be some scenarios where you need to do this yourself. Maybe you've been in an accident and you can't talk, but you can get to your phone. You could press these buttons and just hold the buttons till this comes up and either slide it, or if you continue to hold the buttons, when this pops up, it'll go ahead and start the countdown as well. But now for a 7 or older, the difference is you press the side button, the on-off button 5 times fairly rapidly. And depending on which model, in some cases, it brings up this screen. In other cases, it just starts the countdown. If I think it's a 7, it brings up the screen. If it's older than a 7, it just starts the countdown and contacts emergency services, it doesn't ever show you this screen. So it works a little differently depending on the model. And
I'm
again,
not doing that until I'm sitting at the police station or the fire.
yeah, and typically you're not going to be doing this probably. I mean, you could come up on somebody and want to help them, but more the first responders, and they know they've been trained how to do this already. So they know how this works. But there's another way that's actually even easier that I'll show you next. I'm gonna cancel out of this. So this screen is your login screen. If your phone's been locked, this is a screen that pops up.
Yeah.
And you may not have noticed it, but down in the bottom left, there's the word emergency.
Holy crap, my nail.
I'm going to touch that. That opens up your phone so you can make an emergency call. So I could just call 911 from here.
Isn't that a hoot?
Now, if you look down at the bottom again, there's the medical ID. So I can, and again, if I'm a physician, I'm not going to call 911. I'm just going to touch medical ID and get your medical ID. If I'm me and not a physician, I can call 911. And when I get them on the line, then I can touch medical ID and read them that information over the phone if it doesn't send automatically. So this one's probably easier to get to.
Yeah.
So a couple of different ways to get to that information.
Especially if you're in kind of a panic or.
Yeah, can't remember all those holding buttons and things. This one is a little easier. Now that you know it's there, you'll probably see this. I mean, it's been down there all along, but most people never notice that it says emergency down there, or they've seen it, but they're afraid to touch it because they don't know what it's going to do.
Yep.
Now you know what it's going to do.
You know us well.
I don't see emergency on my 11.
It's there. Your phone has to be locked. And then when you unlock your phone, where you would type in your passcode or where you would do your face recognition is the screen it's on when you're unlocking a locked phone. If you touch the button.
You mean you could touch the emergency or you should not?
Yep. So touching this one just takes you to this screen where you can call for help and get to the medical ID. But this doesn't automatically send anything when you're touching these. It just allows you to use the phone or to get to the medical ID.
Huh.
So if the phone was turned off, you weren't using it and you fell and you got your phone, all you had to do was push the button to open it and you would see the emergency in the bottom corner.
You would. Yep. Anytime you've got that keypad where you type in your passcode, it's
not allowing me to do that because I'm in already.
Yep, your phone isn't locked.
Right.
You'll notice it the next time your phone is locked and you try and open it.
Okay.
But take a look next time you're there. Oops,
I will.
My phone back on so I don't lose it here, and I need to unlock my phone.
Wait, can you add more than one person in emergency contact?
Yes, you can have, I know 3, I think maybe it's 5, but I know you can have at least 3. I've got 2 and there's a place to add another one.
Thank
you.
I
know you can have 3. And for some reason, 5 is sticking in my head as the number you can add.
Thanks.
Now that is one thing that, with the emergency SOS, sliding that bar, it automatically calls those contacts as well.
Ah.
So that's why that slide button with the emergency SOS is kind of the best way to do it. But the other ways work because once you get into the medical ID, you can see the contacts and call them manually. Okay, let's move on. So that's medical ID, but that one's important. I want to make sure everybody has that one. So we talked about that. The next thing we want to talk about is sharing your location, which can be beneficial, but also a safety measure as well. And that's something you have to enable in your settings before you can do the next couple of things I'm going to show you. So let's go into settings. I'll show you how to enable those 2 functions. So we're going to go into settings. And we're going to touch your name up at the top.
My favorite.
Been there before. And slide down just a little bit and where it says Find My, it's a little green circle.
There it is.
Third one there. So touch Find My. There's some other stuff under here. There's only 2 buttons we're concerned about. Share my location. You can see mine is turned on. And it says here, share your location with family and friends. Mm-hmm. And the other is Find My iPhone. And that one you have to touch to open it up. And there's, again, several things in here. The one we're worried about is Find My iPhone. So those two both have to be green in order for you to do the things I'm going to show you. If you decide you don't want to do those, you can turn these off or wait and turn them on after you've seen it. But it won't work without those two things being green.
Apple when the batteries.
Let me show you what these are.
Wait, I can't find that.
Oh, jeez.
And find the, okay, so go into, did you get into this page where it says Find My, or is that what you can't find?
I could find iCloud, iTunes app, share my location. And then on the bottom that I have iPhone and MacBook.
So, okay, let's start from the top so I can tell where you are. So, so you touched your name.
Yes.
Okay. And then you came down and you touched Find My. So don't go to iCloud, go to Find My.
No, I don't have that.
You don't have Find My. Okay, you're on a 7.
6 Plus.
6 Plus, okay. That may not be available on the 6 Plus. Okay. No, so you some of this you may be able to do, and some of it you may not. So you can check and see. I'm not sure if it's not available or you don't have the option of turning it off in settings. So we'll see if these will work when we get there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always fun teaching iPhone because it works differently for every model. Okay, let me show you what the worst case. You'll know how it works next time you upgrade to a newer phone. So the first thing we're going to talk about is sharing your location. Okay, and to do that, you need to use the Find My app. This is confusing. We just went to the Find My setting in settings. We're not going into settings now. We're going to an app. And once again, it's not on my phone. I'm not going to look for it. I'm going to slide down, and it's in my Siri Suggests. But if it wasn't, I would type FI. And it would pop up into my search results.
Look, there it is.
But you need to get to the Find My app. And I'm going to touch that and give everybody a chance to catch up with me. Did everybody find that app and get into it?
So is this the share my location that my kids can see exactly where I'm at all the time?
Yep, that's where we're headed.
Did you say yes?
Yes, this is where we're going. Yeah.
Okay.
So are you there? Did everybody get this app open?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to just worry about the one here that says people. There's some other things in here, but we're in this one on the left. That's where it should default. But if it's not, touch the little people at the bottom. Watch my screen again. Let me demo this for you so you can see what it is and how it works, and you can decide if you want to use it or not. But it's 2 sections. One is people that have shared their location with you. So this is my wife. She has shared her location with me. So if I want to find her, I'll give you a scenario here. She went to visit a friend about an hour away from here. She was supposed to be back at 2 o'clock. She didn't come. She wasn't here. I called her. She didn't answer. I texted her. She didn't respond. I'm worried. I can see where she is and see if I need to go find her. So I just touch on her name, and it's going to connect to the GPS in her phone and show me where she is. And she's right here. It's actually in the house because she just heard her. I just heard her come in the door.
Darn.
But if this was somewhere else, and I could tell from where it was that it's somewhere between here and where she was going. And you can even watch this for a couple of minutes. And if they're in the car moving, you can see it move. So if I saw she was moving toward home in the route she should be on, I'd say, okay, everything's fine. She just don't want to answer her phone while she's driving. But if it stopped and it's not moving and I check again in a few minutes and it's still isn't moving, I'd get worried and I'd probably get in the car and go and find her. And I could do that by clicking directions, takes me into GPS, and
Cool.
I can get right to her.
Love this.
I'm going to touch this X here, which takes me out of her record, takes me back to the main screen. If 3 other people had shared their location with me, I could do that with each person. So let me show you how to share your location. So this is someone that shared their location with me. Yeah, that doesn't automatically mean I've shared mine with her. So someone can share their location with you and you don't have to share back. But
Excuse me.
I'm
Can
going
I
to
ask
share back.
Question,
Yep.
Wade.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you going to be sharing these little instructions with us?
Which little instructions?
You know, like you have share your location, but then you open Find My app, tap on people.
I'm not going to go on these other two down here. Is that what you're talking? We're going to get to some of this somewhat through another another way.
On the left of the screen, you have the written
The
instructions.
slide,
Yeah, I'm working my way down all that. Yep.
So
the
I'm asking,
slides.
are you going to be sharing those?
Yes, I'm going to go over all this.
And you're going to share it with us?
Yes, I'm doing it right now.
Thank
So
you.
we're at this point right now. So yeah, so I'm I may not be doing it exactly the same order, but I'm gonna cover all the same steps. So I'm gonna do share my location. I ad lib sometimes. So this is how you would share with someone else. So if I want to share my location with my wife, I click there. And it brings up recent contacts.
Yeah.
If who you want to share it with is one of these, you would just click it. If not, you can start typing. And I'm going to type because I want to show you a couple of things in here. Let me take out one of those letters so I get more people. Okay, so if you look at this, and it may be a little hard to see, John Briggs is gray, Carrie is blue, Roger is blue. You can only share your location with someone else that has an iPhone and that has share location enabled in the settings like we just did. So I can share with Roger, I can share with Carrie, I can't share my location with John. He either has an Android or he's got an iPhone and didn't turn on location tracking.
Good shot.
So that shows you who you can share with. Okay. So I'm gonna put the rest of my wife's name in, and there she is right here. So I'm gonna touch on her record. Now you can share with more than one person. So, and I'll talk about some scenarios where you may want to do that. So I may want to share with Nancy and Thomas too. And I'm gonna click send. And that gives me three options: share for an hour, share until the end of the day, or share indefinitely. And let me give you some scenarios maybe around this. One scenario may be the four of us are going to hiking in an area. And so we want to be able to keep track of each other while we're hiking. So we're going to share for an hour if it's going to be a short hike, or maybe it's until the end of the day if it's going to be a long hike. So if we're during that time period, I'm sharing my location with all three of those people. It automatically shuts off when that time interval expires. I don't want to share with them permanently. If it's like my wife or another close family member, I might want to share indefinitely. That's what my wife and I have done. Another scenario, more on a safety feature, is that it's really bad outside, bad weather, and I'm coming over to Nancy's house. So I might call Nancy and say, hey, I'm heading over, but the weather's really bad. I'm going to share my location so you can track me and make sure I get there okay. And if I run off the road and stop, send somebody to get me. So Nancy can check my progress and see if I'm moving toward her house. Probably can think of other scenarios, but that's kind of the safety features of sharing your location temporarily and or permanently.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I need to leave, so I'm going to leave.
Goodbye.
Okay, Bonnie.
Thank you. I'll try the class again. Thank you.
I was gonna say you can take it again or get the recording. Okay, bye, Bonnie.
Thank you.
But this only works for people with iPhones.
Correct. Yep. So that's the one catch.
That's not bad. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to cancel out of this because I've already shared with my wife, and I don't want to share with all those other people right now. So now the other thing you can do, so I've kind of shown you how you can share locations. So you may say, well, what happens if I get mad at Michelle and I don't want her seeing where I am anymore, but I've shared my location indefinitely. So if you touch that name again, go back into where we were and scroll down. That's where I can say, stop sharing my location with her.
Put your girlfriend in instead.
Yes, exactly.
Got ya.
And if I'm tired of seeing her name up there, I can remove her from my list as well. So I don't want to know where she is. I don't want her knowing where I am. We're not talking right now.
But this doesn't really bother them. I mean, I guess I'm saying, if I let my niece know this, she's only going to access us if she needs to, or I need her to.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't control when they go and look where you are. So, which is why some people, don't like that if they're really private about what they're doing. They don't want their spouse knowing where they are all day, any day. So, yeah, kind of have to weigh the privacy off of the safety issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, now, if you can always stop sharing if for whatever reason you don't want to know where you are for the next day, and then start sharing again a day later. So you can stop and start whenever you want to as well.
This would be invaluable, like on a group trip or something.
I think so. I think it's really great on any type of group outing, especially where you might get separated and you want to try and find where somebody is.
Big museum, anything like that. If we ever get to do those things again, wow.
and from the safety perspective, in case that person was hiking and they fell and unconscious, I keep using unconscious, but because otherwise you could call them on the phone and say, hey, where are you? But if they're unconscious, they can't answer the phone, but you can still find their location. All right, so that's Find My Location from the Find My app. I think I covered everything here. Not sure what that was asking about all the points here, but you can keep me honest and make sure I cover all the points, but I think I've covered everything. So let's go another way you can share locations. This is a different way, and it has one feature you can't do from the Find My app. And we're going to do this from iMessage Texting. So I'm going to go into here and just go in as if I was going to send a text message to my wife. So I click on here. And so normally I would enter a text message down here. But instead of entering a text message, what I'm going to do is click on her profile picture up here at the top center and hit info. And on the 11 and 12, you may have to hit info again. On the 8, you just scroll up a little bit and here's send my current location and share my location. Share my location is what works just like it did in the app. So this one we already know about. This is different. Let me talk about this one for a second. Send my current location. I'm out in the country for whatever reason and my car dies. So I want my mechanic to come out there and see if he can start my car. If he can't, tow it home, whatever. So I'm going to send him the location where I am right now and where my car is going to be. So he can come get and pick it up. Or maybe I need help and somebody to come and get me. Same thing, but you're sending your current location. They're not following you. It doesn't keep tracking you. It's a point in time location. And I actually had my wife do that so I could show what it looks like in class. So let me find it. It's up here somewhere. There. So if I sent this to my mechanic and saying, hey, Bob, car's dead. Here's where it is. Can you come and check it out? So you can add a text along with it, explaining why you're sending it to him. And he could just touch that picture, which is what I'm going to do now. And it opens up GPS and you can click to get directions to where that location is. In the meantime, me and my phone can go back home. I could get my wife to come and pick me up. So, but my location doesn't change because this is a one-time snapshot. I'm not sharing, I'm just showing a point in time location. That makes sense?
Yep.
You understand the difference? Okay.
Yeah.
How did you get there again?
Sure.
iMessage.
Yep. So go to iMessage.
Yes.
And then pick the person you're going to send it to, just like you're going to send them a text message.
Okay, so I pick.
But instead of texting, we're going to come up here to the top center and touch their name or their picture up there. Gives you 3 options: call, FaceTime, or info. And you want info. This is a little cryptic, I know.
Yeah, on the older phone, there's not a picture, but if you touch it, you get those things.
You get those, yep,
Yep,
same thing. Just you touch their name or their picture.
and then you get,
And then
wow,
you scroll down a little bit to where it says send my location.
isn't that a hoot?
You get that, Petra?
No, not at all.
I'm gonna do it again.
Tell me where you are. So are you?
So I go to the iMessage icon, right?
Uh-huh.
And it comes up all the messages that I've received.
Yep.
Mhm.
So
And then, but I don't have, and so the only thing that's available above that is edit.
Yep.
And
okay, just pick a person from down there. So I picked Steve right there. Just pick a person.
or someone who has sent me a message already.
Yep. Or you can do a
Oh,
search.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Okay.
And
then
then
Oh,
instead of texting, touch their name up at the top.
yes. So
And
now,
it-
Does that work?
yes.
Okay.
And then it says send my current location or share my location.
Send my current location.
Okay.
No, mine, that didn't come up for me.
Yeah, it says turn on location service to allow messages to send your location. What is that?
That's those settings that I showed you that you have to turn on to enable this. So if you don't turn those on, you can't do this.
Yes, I see it.
Okay. Yeah. So you need to go back into the settings where we were in the Find My settings and turn those on. That enables these two functions to work, as well as the next one we're going to do.
So in order for me to go there, then I have to go to the again setting, right?
Yeah, you have to go into that to the settings, touch your name, and then go into Find My and turn those two
Oh.
settings on.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you need to help getting there again, the best thing is just to get a copy of the recording and listen to that first part where we go over that again. Because I've got a couple more things I want to show you, and I'm kind of keeping an eye on the time to make sure we don't run out of time, because this is another one that's really important and useful, is Find My Phone. I've lost my phone. It happens to all of us. I can't find my phone, and I'm here by myself. If my wife was here, I'd tell her, honey, call me so I can find my phone, but she's not here. So I still have an option. Go to any device that has a browser and open a browser window. It could be a Windows computer, a Mac. It could be anything that's got a browser. And we're going to iCloud.com. So you type in iCloud.com and hit enter. And you have to log in with your Apple ID and password. And it brings you into iCloud. There's a whole class on iCloud, lots of stuff in iCloud. Ignore everything in here except for this Find iPhone. So I'm going to click that down at the bottom right. And it takes me to the Find My screen.
And there you are. I'll be darned.
And you can have more than one device. I mean, you may have an iPad, an iPhone, a Mac, 2 iPads, whatever. So if you click all devices, it'll show you all your devices and you can pick which one you want to find. I only have one, so it's easy, but I'm going to click Find Wade's iPhone. And it takes me to a screen that looks like what we just saw. And it shows on the map where that phone is. I can use the little zoom over here to get in closer. And it may be hard to see, but you can see the outline of houses. This is my house and the houses on either side. So it shows me in the house where it is, and that's about 2 feet from where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
I usually say it's accurate to about 8 to 10 feet.
Doing something. I'll call it. Okay.
Now, sometimes you know it's in the house. It's somewhere you may know it's in this room. I still can't find it.
You
What
got
do
it.
is click play sound, and it will play a sound so you can hear it. If it's underneath the couch or underneath the cushion. So that's one way to find it.
Wow.
Now, let's say I do this and it says my phone's out here. It's out in the front yard somewhere. I was working in the shrubbery and it fell out of my pocket. But at least now I know where it is. Within 8 feet, I can go out there. What I would probably do is say play sound and then go out and look for it and listen for it, because it'll be playing the sound so I can find it. Now let's get another scenario. Let's say I do this and it says I'm here at my house. It says my phone is up here.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the grocery store and I was there this morning and it fell out of my pocket at the grocery store or in the parking lot somewhere. So I say that makes sense. I know where it is, but before I go get it, because that's 45 minutes away, I may want to secure that phone in case somebody else gets to it before I do.
Yeah.
And those are lost mode and erase mode. I'm going to go back to my slides to show you what those do, but you can click either one of these. If you do lost mode, there's on-screen instructions to walk you through this, but you can lock your device with the passcode. You should be doing that already, but if you don't already do that, you can do it now and lock that phone. So if somebody finds it, they can't get into it without the
passcode we used to get in?
Yeah, if you already have a passcode, you probably don't need to add a second one. This is more for people that don't use a passcode. There are some of those. I'm not going to tell on anybody, but my wife doesn't. So she doesn't like passcodes, but if she lost her phone, we could lock it remotely. You can put a custom message on the screen saying, phone lost, call this number if you find it, and give them your landline or your neighbor's phone number. So if some good Samaritan finds your phone, they can get in touch with you and say, hey, I'm up here at the Food Lion and I found your phone in the parking lot. You can arrange how to pick it up.
Yep.
You can disable Apple Pay. So if someone that's not such a good Samaritan finds your phone, they can't start buying stuff, especially if they find it before you put the lock on it. And something else you can do has nothing to do with Apple, but you can call your cell phone provider, Verizon, AT&T, whoever it is, and tell them to forward all the calls and texts to that number to another number, your spouse's phone, your neighbor's phone, somebody's phone that will help you, so that any calls and texts will come to that phone. So I would lock it and then I'd go look for it at the Food Lion.
Yeah.
Now, if I've looked, yeah, I know that may take 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, if instead of that scenario, or maybe if I get to AT&T and it's, or Food Line and it's gone, or if I look and it's actually moving up this highway in this direction away from where I live,
yep,
I know somebody's got my phone and they're heading off with it, you can erase it. If the phone is on, it will wipe it. If it's off, the next time somebody turns it on, it will wipe it. So that erases your phone.
Ha, they've got fooled. Yeah.
Yep. So they got a phone.
It's all
but they can't
still in the
do
cloud. So if you ever get your phone back.
Exactly. If you're backing your phone up to iCloud, then if you get it back, you can just download it. And if you never get it back, you buy a new one and you download it from iCloud again. So yes, an iCloud person, definitely back up your phone to iCloud. Okay. Good questions.
We had, when we buy a new phone, we're a little irritated with how much it costs, but the value just keeps going up the more I learn.
Yep. You can do a lot more with them than you could 20 years ago.
I got rid of my medical alert device. I'm using this. Oh, that's a good question. This iPhone will hook up to something called Apple Watch.
Uh-huh.
I bet you there's a class on that.
We don't have a class on that, but we probably should. I know we've got a lot of people now that have Apple Watches.
Okay, that's my next, I'll put it in there. Yeah.
Put it in for a requested class.
Yeah. I don't want to wear a watch, but you can get them as a pendulum or, a pocket thing or something. So
yep. A necklace. Okay, one last thing I want to show you, and we got just a couple of minutes here, but this one is pretty quick. If you've taken the basic class, you know what Do Not Disturb is. If you haven't, I'm going to show you very quickly. Do Not Disturb is a way to turn your phone off so that people can't disturb you if you're in a meeting at church. If you're taking a class. And it's called Do Not Disturb. It's in your settings right here. So I'm going to touch that. You can see mine is turned on. I turn on Do Not Disturb whenever I'm teaching. So somebody can't call me or ding me with a text while I'm teaching. After class, I turn it off. That's what Do Not Disturb is. There's also a switch on your phone that does the same thing. You can flip that switch and it turns off the ringer. But there may be some people in your life, and this is more for their safety than yours probably, that you want to be able to get to you no matter what. Even if you've got do not disturb turned on and you're in a meeting. For me, my 91-year-old dad, I want him to get to me whenever he needs me. He doesn't call just to chat. If he calls me, there's something important. He likes me to call him instead. And my wife, I want them to bypass this do not disturb. So let me show you how to do that. This one's pretty quick and easy. Oops. So this is in your contacts. There's a contact app. I don't know where it is. I get the contacts through my phone. If you touch the phone and then just click the contacts down here in the bottom center.
Yep.
And then just go to that person's contact. So we'll grab my dad. So that's and actually I've got two different. Let me do my wife because I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to change anything in there. So let me keep picking on my wife. So I'll go to my wife's card. And what you need to do is we're going to edit this contact card. So we need to click edit.
Yeah.
And scroll down past the phone number, past the email to ringtone. I don't know why it's under ringtone, a little cryptic again, but it hides under ringtone. I'm going to touch ringtone. And the very first thing there is emergency bypass.
Wow.
And it says emergency bypass allows sounds and vibrations from this person, even when the ring switch is set to silent or when do not disturb is on. So no matter what this person's calls will always
Love that.
Isn't that bizarre?
So that one is good. Again, like I said, for my dad, it's for his safety. If dad's calling, something's wrong, I want to know about it.
Yeah.
And my wife knows when I teach, so she's not going to call me unless it's an emergency. So that's how you set the do not disturb bypass. All right. So we are out of time, but we're out of material as well. That was the last thing I wanted to show you. I do want to thank you for attending the class. Hope you learned some things about your iPhone that'll make it more useful and hopefully keep you safer as a person. So you keep coming back to all of our classes. I mentioned that there's an iPhone basics class.
Thanks so much.
And that if you haven't taken that, it covers a lot of the basics. And there's also, we're working on an iPhone intermediate tips and tricks class. It just goes over more tips and tricks. That one should be out any day now.
Good.
And then in terms of the closing, I'm going to go to this quickly. This is especially for anyone that hasn't taken any classes before in terms of what happens after the class. So after class, you'll get an email with class notes, and it will have a section of class notes, and it'll have some links in there. So I mentioned a couple of links that'll be in there. This one I think has 3 or 4 links. So take a look at the links. It goes into more details about some of the things we talked about. It'll also have links to 3 other classes, a link to our feedback page. If you click give feedback, it brings up our feedback page. 2 questions, rate the session 1 to 5, rate the guide 1 to 5. So it's very quick.
And put in there the suggestion to have a Apple Watch class.
Apple Watch class, yes. And again, we hope you're enjoying being part of the Get Set Up community, and we'll tell others about it as well. And if you're interested, hopefully, if you haven't found our interest groups and our social hours, those are things that are very, gives you a chance to get together with other people that have similar interests. And if you would like to actually host an interest group, if it's something you're passionate about and you want to share it with other people, we'd be glad to help you set up an interest group on Get Set Up. Just let us know, help@getsetup.io. You can also send an email about a new class to help@getsetup.io as well. If you're not, you've already sent in your evaluation form, but you think about a new class, you can really use this to tell us anything that you want to tell us. It always works. And then the last link is just to view schedule, takes you back to our website where you can book another class. Okay. All right, so that is the end of the hour. Again, thank you so much for attending. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And hope I see you again in another class soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
informative.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It was fun.
Yeah.
Bye now.